Hey guys, it is Damak here and welcome back to a brand new video. Now today we're here for part 3 of my F1 2019 career mode, and if you did miss last episode, it was a good one. We started our season here at Racing Point, our debut race in our debut season, and yeah, it was something special. It was a lot of battles, it was a bit boring at times, but we got spun around twice. One time it was properly spun around when we were battling Hulkenberg for 7th. And then we got spun around, well, a half spin when we were battling Kimi Räikkönen. So if you did miss that video, it's it'll be in the top right for you to watch now. So we're here in Bahrain for round 2 of the season, and before we go into practice 1, we're just going to have a look at the messages. So the weather forecast is, as you'd expect in Bahrain, it's going to be dry. But as we scroll through here, we're going to get some R&D upgrades. We've got 2,322 resource points. We're going to put that into effect, and what are we going to work on then? What shall we work on? So we've got a good powertrain, we don't really need to upgrade that. We can upgrade aerodynamics, so we're going to go for the front wing main flap. It'll be here in 3 weeks. 940 resource points, we can get that. Can we also get this other one? Rear wing upper flap as well. We're going to develop both of them at the same time. So these upgrades will come in about 3 weeks time. I think that's for the 4th round of the season, so we'll have to find out there. Anyway, we're here in Bahrain, so we're going to head into practice 1 now, do the practice programs, and then head into the more important events, which are qualifying and the race. So we're in practice 1 here in Bahrain. It's a bit of a throwaway session because obviously the race is at night, qualifying's at night, so we don't really learn much in this session. We'll just get this out of the way first of all, and then see how we get on in the 2nd and 3rd sessions. We passed the track acclimatization, fuel management and ERS management. I crashed out twice in the qualifying pace, and tyre management just didn't go well at all. So we're just going to head into qualifying now. Hopefully this bad luck doesn't follow us to it. So yeah, let's go, and hopefully we can do just as well as we did in Melbourne. Bit of slide on the final corner as we come towards the line for our first lap here in Q1. Puts us dead last, 3.5 seconds off the pace. But midway through that lap I realised we're running with 9 laps of fuel as we sit dead last. So we come into the final corner. Now the session is now over. The back end's still kicking out. We've got a bit more tidier than the previous lap. We come across the line now. Where do we go? Do we get into Q2? We're struggling so much on that lap. Yes we do. We get P12 at the very death of the session after being last place. We are still a second off of our teammate who's doing quite well there in the Racing Point in 4th place. We've got a lot of work to do. We gained about a second and a half on that lap, so hopefully we can do the same in the next session, which is Q2. We might be pushing our luck if we say we're going to get into Q3, but we can try. So we're going to use our Q1 tyres to set a banker lap here in Q2. We only get 1 set of the soft tyre in Q2, so we'll use it for our quick lap at the end of the session. So we come across the line now with about 50 seconds left of the session. We've got to get this lap in, and we've got to get it good because we're currently sitting in last position in this session, a few tenths off the pace. Let's see if these brand new tyres can get us into Q3. We're still about a second off our teammate Perez. Hopefully that can change with this lap, but let's find out. 1.2 seconds up on our time coming into the final corner now. Just get on the power onto the curb a bit. It's a bit slippy there, but about 1.5 seconds up on our time. Where does it put us? Do we get into Q3? Yes we do. P9. Whoa, what a lap that was. P9, we've out-qualified Sergio Perez by 0.02 of a second. We have just pipped our teammate into Q3 after him being faster than us the whole time throughout the qualifying and practice. Lucas Weber splits us so far, but it will be ourselves heading into Q3, not our teammate, as he goes out alongside Hulkenberg, Norris, Albon and Danny Kvyat. So it's time to head into qualifying 3 and see if we can get a good starting position for the race. So we're only going to do one run here in Q3. We're behind Pierre Gasly. Hopefully he can give us quite a toll, but we don't really want to overtake him down the straight. We just want to be in his slipstream and to get a good run throughout this lap. Anyway, we're behind Gasly into turn 1. Hit the apex nicely. Hopefully he can give us a slipstream up to turn 4 as well. We've lost some time there on the curbs, but we should be alright. Vettel set at 28.4, I think that is. As we come through turn 4 now, on a bit wide as well compared to Gasly. We're losing some time staying on the track, but we've locked up just a little bit. We've run a bit wide, touched the gravel a little bit. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the session at 1:28.8. We're still behind Pierre Gasly. We're closing up on the straight into the final corner now for our lap here in qualifying 3. Where do we qualify? We've got the slipstream of the Red Bull in front of us. We qualify in P6. What a start that is, and thank you very much to Pierre Gasly for the slipstream. We qualify in P6, and we have actually got a quicker time than Pierre Gasly due to that slipstream. I am delighted with that. Thank you very much. Although we're about 3/10 off Max Verstappen, we're still ahead of Pierre Gasly. We're starting P6 for the race here in Bahrain. I am delighted. I didn't think we'd get maybe 8th. I thought we'd be in the lower field, but thanks to that slipstream from the Red Bull driver, we've got ourselves in P6 for the race. Lewis Hamilton gets pole anyway, Vettel, Bottas and Leclerc behind. We split the 2 Red Bulls. Ricciardo, Weber and Butler round out Q3.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, McDonald, Gasly, Ricciardo, Weber and Devon Butler, Perez, Hülkenberg, Lando Norris and Albon, Kvyat, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi and Robert Kubica, Raikkonen and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are on the grid here in Sakhir after that fantastic qualifying performance due to Pierre Gasly's slipstream. Anyway, looking at the race strategy, we're on a 2-stop strategy. It seems that it's much quicker than the 3-stop. Soft, medium again. Hopefully we can convert this fantastic qualifying into a good points haul at the end of the race, but you never know. We thought that would happen in Australia when we got high up the grid. Then Hülkenberg had a collision with us and we spun, paid the consequences, and we finished P10. So we got a point. Hopefully we can make more of that today. So let's go into the Bahrain Grand Prix for our second race in Formula 1. The front right is not up to temperature on the tyre carcass. It's about 4 degrees lower than the front left, so that may be a problem for ourselves, but hopefully not going into turn 1. With our lineup on the grid, it is Lewis Hamilton on pole with Vettel in second, Bottas third, Leclerc fourth, Verstappen fifth, and ourselves splitting the 2 Red Bulls in 6th position.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed.
We're just waiting for George Russell to round off the grid here in Sakhir. And I think he has done so now. So the lights are now illuminating above us. We've got 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go here in Sakhir. We've got such a push start. A lot of wheel spin off the start. We've got a Renault of, I think there's Daniel Ricciardo going up on the inside. Gasly's got past us into turn 1. Ricciardo has dived up the inside. He's caught in the corner. There is going to be a collision there. Daniel Ricciardo's passed us. We've lost a few positions. We're going to hopefully get them back because we've got the run on Daniel Ricciardo down towards turn 4. We're alongside the Renault, alongside the Aussie into turn 4. We've got the inside. We can also got the inside of Gasly here. He's not expecting it. It's a bit of a dive bomb. But we're back up to P6 where we started. We lost some time to Max Verstappen there as well. I did not expect to dive Gasly there. It was a bit more malicious than I thought it was going to be, than I wanted to be anyway. But we're back past Gasly, and he's been overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo as well into turn 10. Try not to lock up the tyres as we've just done there. Oh, we've half spun it off the first corner, and Gasly's going to be alongside now. Pushed him a bit wide. He's got DRS, so down towards turn 4. Is this going to help Pierre Gasly at all? We're going to defend the inside. He's going to go try around the outside. We're going to hold him off around the outside, push him a bit wide. Nothing's come of it yet, so the team want me to come in next lap instead of lap 5, which is probably the best idea because we're so slow. We've lost so much time to Verstappen just because our tyre is so worn, and probably from that wheel spin off the start line as well. So let's take a look at the replay of the race start. Lewis Hamilton on pole ahead of Sebastian Vettel. The lights were held for a very long time, but as the cars got underway, it was Charles Leclerc from P4 on the grid who got a fantastic getaway, and it was both the Ferraris alongside Lewis Hamilton into turn 1, 3 wide, and in the background there you can see Daniel Ricciardo diving up the inside of Bottas and colliding with the Finn. But all was well for ourselves. We got a bad start, but we managed to keep it up. Down towards turn 4, we're side by side with Daniel Ricciardo, and then up the inside of Pierre Gasly. It was a bit of a dive bomb on the Frenchman. He lost an end plate from that collision as we nearly lost the back end off the exit of turn 4. We kept P6 though, where we started, and that was an okay start, to be honest. I'm a bit disappointed with the getaway. We could have challenged Verstappen, but that's it. On we go. Yeah, we're coming into the pits to slap the tyres are on 59% where into the pits we come now. Put them on. We've just made it. Tyres are looking so dead. Are these soft tyres? We're going to come out in last position with the first driver on track to make the stop. And into the pit box we come. 2.2 seconds. That is quite quick from the Racing Point team. We're going to come out dead last. Hopefully we can undercut, well, stay ahead of the guys that were trying to overtake us. So hopefully we can stay ahead of Gasly and also Ricciardo. There's some guys in the pit lane. Ricciardo and Butler are in the pit lane. Where are we going to emerge, or where they can emerge with us? They're still in the pit lane now as we come flying past the pit exit. We've stayed ahead of Daniel Ricciardo and our two rivals, Lucas Weber and Devin Butler, I think it is, that have just pit. So that is quite positive from ourselves. They'll probably be on a different strategy though, which is a problem. Perez is into the pit lane, which means that they're starting to stop now as Butler and Ricciardo were battling. It's quite a boring stint so far. We've just been saving the tyres, saving the fuel, and hopefully we'll still be ahead of our teammate. He was into the pits just as we were coming on to the back straight, and he's just exiting the pits now. We're ahead of Sergio Perez by quite a mile. So obviously they're on different strategies, so I don't know what is happening yet. There's yellow flags, there's a safety car. Oh no, who's out of the race? It is Giovinazzi, I think. Yep, that's him there, pulling off to the side. And to be honest, this is probably the worst time for a safety car to come out, because that's basically a free pit stop for everybody else, and we've already made our pit stop. So even though we were basically a sitting duck in the first 4 laps, we're still in P6, and we've got one more stop to go. I don't think the rest do, but we've got one more stop. They might actually, but the field is now getting bunched together. It's Vettel leading the race ahead of Leclerc, Bottas, Verstappen and Hamilton. Then it's ourselves, Ricciardo, Perez, and I can't see who else is behind, Butler. So as Giovinazzi was starting lap 11 in P12 in the race, quite a positive place for himself. He was coming on the exit of turn 3, he just started to slow. Robert Kubica hit him and he had to pull over at the side of the track. A mechanical failure there for the Alfa Romeo, and that is unfortunate for Giovinazzi. The stewards have decided to give Robert Kubica a 5-second time penalty for this collision with Antonio Giovinazzi. and he'll have to take that in the pit stop, which will probably be happening now due to a safety car. And this is not going to help ourselves, but it's going to help Robert Kubica, as he's not going to be as far off the grid as he would be. So maybe if we're lucky, we might be able to have a go at Lewis Hamilton down the main straight when the safety car comes in. I doubt it. Looks like we're going to be in P6 and battling for P6 at the highest, unless there's a retirement up at the top. I don't know where Pierre Gasly is, to be honest. He seems to do what he does in real life, and that's just drop down the order. Well, he was behind me, but still, he's in a quicker car. He's in the Red Bull, so he should be up here somewhere. As the front runners are away, Lewis Hamilton is in front of us. We may have the slipstream down to turn 1. We're in overtake mode. We probably don't have the slipstream on Hamilton into turn 1. Verstappen in front of him goes defensive to Lewis Hamilton, and we're right on the back of the Mercedes. Verstappen goes up the inside of Bottas there at the restart. As the cars all over the place, we didn't warm up the tyres enough. We're still in P6. Ricciardo was no challenge for us there, as Verstappen looks at another move at Bottas. So we've just gone over about halfway through this race. It's come to start lap 15. The front runners have disappeared. Ricciardo's on the back of me though. He may be onto me down the back straight, especially due to his late braking manoeuvres that he's good at. We're going to go into overtake mode and rich mix. Hopefully he doesn't get me. He doesn't have DRS. It's not enabled yet. And the Renault stays behind for now. We're not as slow as before, as we've got Daniel Ricciardo onto us. We've got to go into overtake mode once again. He's got the slipstream. DRS is now enabled. But Lewis Hamilton is battling Max Verstappen in front of us. That's probably not a battle for us to be viewing right now, or us to be caring about. But I did notice it into turn 1 as Ricciardo's on the back of me. He will have DRS. He's closing quite rapidly, but nothing's going to come of it. As Daniel Ricciardo peels into the pit lane, he's going to try the undercut. He's worth staying out. Going to try a bit of an overcut, see if we can gain any time. I doubt it, but we will have fresher tyres at the end. So a few laps after Ricciardo came into the pit lane, we're into the pits now for a set of the medium tyres. We're followed in by Nico Hülkenberg, who's also going on to the mediums. We're in here. And we're underway. 2.2 seconds. We're a bit slow getting out of the box. Hamilton goes past. Hülkenberg is right behind me, and there is Daniel Ricciardo. As we exit the pit lane, Ricciardo's in front. Butler is also in front on the mediums, but we've got, I think it's 3 lap younger tyres, so we can easily catch up to them. We just need to get them up to temperature, and then we can start the fight ahead of the Brit and the Aussie. So in the same lap that we pitted, we're right on the back of Devon Butler, our old rival in F2. We've got DRS on him. We're closing in heavily in towards turn 1, and he goes defensive. We're going to go up the inside of Devon Butler. We've locked up just a bit. Can we get it stopped and stay ahead of him? Yes, we can. That was a very tight manoeuvre. He just wasn't able to get underneath us and go back past us. We've still got the DRS into turn 4, and next up is Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault, the driver we were battling with at the Australian Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix, and he had an engine failure. So this time we're closing in for P12 on Daniel Ricciardo. We're closer than ever before on Daniel Ricciardo as we come out the final corner. Back end is squirming, but we're in the slipstream of Daniel Ricciardo. We've got DRS, 0.5 seconds behind, in towards turn 1. He's going defensive. We're going to swing out from behind the Renault up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, and I think we've got it. He keeps it around the outside, but we just close him off, and we're up into P11. Next up is Lando Norris in the McLaren, as Daniel Ricciardo is going to try and get us back into turn 4. It's not happening just yet, mate, and we're up into P11 past the Renault Daniel Ricciardo. Newer tyres, of course. Next up is Lando Norris. He's 9 seconds up the road. He's on the hards, and I don't know if we're going to be able to catch him. So here's a replay of my move on Devon Butler, and into turn 1 we went up the inside, we locked up. I'm surprised he wasn't able to cut back and do the switchback move, but he stayed behind us, and thankfully he did not attack us into turn 4, as we also had DRS. Well, we had DRS from him, he didn't have anything, so he had to stay behind. As Butler is going for a move, on Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1. Has he made it stick? I don't know. I think he has. They're side by side. And the Haas has got past the Renault. We've got 2 laps remaining and we're 3.8 seconds behind Lando Norris. We can just see him going through turn 1 right now. Hopefully we can catch him before the end of the race, and maybe we might be able to do a last lap overtake just like we did on Kimi Räikkönen in Australia. But that's looking unlikely right now. We're still on the back of Norris. The back end's starting to kick out under braking. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him, but we're going to try as hard as we can. As we cross the line to start the final lap, it is 2.6 seconds between myself and Lando Norris. It is looking very unlikely that I will overtake him, but we can surely have a shot in trying to catch up. No DRS in the back straight. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to. Sebastian Vettel wins the race here in Bahrain, so we're still trying to hunt down Lando Norris. Does not look like it's going to happen as he comes through turn 12 and 13. So Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race. At the very end, Lando Norris comes round the final corner in P10. We follow him round in P11, and unfortunately it won't be points today here in Bahrain as we cross the line in P11 after starting P6. The safety car really screwed us up with the strategy and helped the other guys with the strategy, the ones who hadn't pit yet. So that is very unfortunate, but that is racing as Ferrari take the victory. Well, Sebastian Vettel wins the race here in Bahrain by 5/10 ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen rounds off the grid as Leclerc, Hamilton and Perez gets P6 today in Bahrain. Once again, Perez outscoring ourselves, but today it was strategy's fault. It was the safety cars. Giovinazzi's retirement did not help us at all, and I think Perez, Grosjean, Raikkonen and Norris were all on the hards at the end. They all did a one-stop. So we tried our best. The drivers, well, myself, Butler, Ricciardo and also Weber, who finished in 15th also, we all pit and were on the same strategy, but it just did not work out for ourselves. The only retirement today was Giovinazzi, and yeah, a bit unfortunate for ourselves, but that's racing. So Lewis Hamilton keeps the lead of the driver standings as he's 1 point ahead of Vettel, 2 points ahead of Bottas and 3 points ahead of Max Verstappen. Then Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly are a bit far behind. My teammate Perez is in P7, joint on points with Gasly. We're down in P11 with only 1 point, and that is from the opening round of the season. As Mercedes keep the lead of the constructors ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull, we are positioned in P4. We've got quite a gap to Haas. Obviously it's the start of the season, so points are going to be low. It's not a true reflection yet. The only teams that have not scored points are Williams and Toro Rosso, as they sit 70 points behind Mercedes. So we're going to select our rival to be Lando Norris, just to start off with, in the McLaren. So we've got some R&D in progress. It should be here by Spain, so that's another few races away. And no teams have applied any R&D yet. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe for more of my F1 career mode. It will be uploaded more regularly from now on. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in China.